Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to week 5, day 3 of the warm-up series as part of Task with Me. Today we have another 40-minute walk. I thought it was going to be 50, but 50 is actually what we'll end up with tomorrow. We're a little bit off schedule, but as soon as Monday rolls around, we'll be back on schedule, starting at our 6th week with 20 minutes. Got a couple things to talk about today, rounding out this week, talking about ups and downs, and of course resuming the 250 questions that we had previously started, as I think it's pretty fun and it kind of gives you all the opportunity, the viewers and the listeners, to get to know me a little bit better. So I want to talk about some cool thoughts that I've had recently that were inspired by my brother. And my brother watches my YouTube channel. He watches these videos that I put, and as I suspect a lot of you do, because I know my girlfriend also does something similar, you probably all listen to this while you're doing something else. For example, you might listen to it while you're taking a shower, you might listen to it while doing your daily commute, you might listen to it while doing the dishes, so on and so forth. You have your wireless headphones on and you got the phone somewhere else and you're letting the video play out. So because of this, my brother suggested that I try to do sort of a podcast style with these videos. And seeing as mainly what I'm doing is just talking and having you all listen, I thought that would be very neat. It would be really cool. I wonder what the entry process is like to get on a service like Spotify, for example, just so that I can have that experience. And the nice thing about having it on a platform like Spotify is, for example, my brother, he pays for YouTube Red. If any of you all have YouTube Red, you know that one of its biggest selling points is the fact that you can turn your phone off and still keep the audio going from the video, which means you can effectively do other things on your phone while listening to a YouTube video. But a lot of us don't have that, including myself, so you're kind of locked into the app, which makes it a little bit less flexible. And I think for anyone following along with me, unless it's something that you really need to see, then it's probably okay to just have audio, right? Because fitness, you don't really need to see me doing it unless I'm walking in a truly unique place, which actually I can at that point go and do the video on Spotify. So I think that could be kind of cool. Let me actually, now that I know that I can use my phone, let's actually look this up together. So I'm gonna go on Google. I'm gonna say how can I get a podcast on Spotify? How to get a podcast on Spotify? How do I get my podcast on Spotify? Let's see. Hopefully it'll load here. So podcasters.spotify.com. Cool. They have their own subdomain for this whole, and we all know, podcasting is very popular nowadays. And while this is not really a podcast, it's just me talking. But let's see what we can do here. So let's see. What I see so far, it's sort of like a marketing website. Podcasts already on Spotify. Claim your podcast and get instant access to your current stats. Let's see. The easiest way to make a podcast: create and host unlimited episodes, distribute your show everywhere, and make money all for free. Wow. Okay, this is really cool. So it looks like they have a service called Anchor. And Anchor, it says the easiest way to make a podcast: create and host unlimited episodes, distribute your show everywhere, and make money all for free. Anchor.fm. Now, is Anchor.fm something that they own? Is it through Spotify or is it a separate app? Let's find out. I'm loading Anchor.fm. Well, I guess just on Anchor.fm. Let's see where we can go from here. So suppose, let's think about for a second how this would be if it was a podcast. I would continue doing what I'm doing today, except without the video. Although, you know, what happens at that point is now, you know, am I still utilizing the GoPro as much? I can still use the GoPro because I'm getting the mic for it and all that, so hopefully the mic will help out a little bit. I can use the GoPro to pick all that up. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like Spotify makes that. Yeah, so let's distribute everywhere with one tap, track and grow your analytics. Yeah, I'm gonna look into this. Awesome. So do they have a limit? It looks like they might have a limit. So, yeah, I think it was pretty simple. Check out podcast. Yeah, so I'm just reading some reviews here, and it looks like they might have a limit on how the length of your podcast. Maybe if you go up in different tiers, you know, the more listeners you get, that might extend your listening time. So I might do something like that. But then the GoPro starts becoming less of, you know, which I think it's cool. The GoPro starts becoming less of my vehicle to record my walks, and it becomes more of my daily camcorder to record my own adventures in life, which I think could also be fun too. And I can have a YouTube video the YouTube channel dedicated off of that, so that can be really interesting. So that's something I'm going to be trying out. So if I do end up going that way, the people that have already subscribed to this channel, you all will know about it, and I'll get it out there and we'll listen to it together. I think it could be a lot of fun. Again, it's something new. That is what my sort of intentions are this year. Today is January 1st of 2021. So definitely I am looking into trying new things, and hey, if we can get a podcast out there, I think that would be very neat. Again, not something that I thought I would ever do, but now that I've started doing it, it's like that with a lot of things, right? A lot of times you think about something, or, you know, it's negativity bias, right? We think we're gonna fail before we even attempt something. If we just try the thing and we actually start doing it. I've been doing this now for about a month, and for the most part, it's fairly easy for me to come up with things to talk about. Of course, it's easier when I have other people other guests with me. But now that I'm doing it, I figured, hey, this is probably something that I can do and I can have a little bit of fun with. So that's what I'm aiming to do with this. So again, we'll see where it takes us. We'll see how much fun we can have with it. And then I'd be curious to see, you know, where are the people listening from? We can get all those analytics. How are people listening? Because when you label something as a podcast, it's okay that it's 40 minutes long. I listen to Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, and those episodes are, you know, anywhere from an hour to 3.5 hours. And yeah, it might take me days, but I like the content, so I do go back to it if it's good. And that's what I hope I can provide my listeners, if they feel that this is something fun for them. All right, so let's talk about the new year. It's 2021, which sounds so futuristic. That year, it sounds more futuristic to me than 2020. 2021 is the successor of 2020, the year that so many of us have wanted to finish, and luckily and fortunately we all did. So what did I do for New Year's Day, rather New Year's Eve? Well, the one downside is I did not get to spend it with my girlfriend, but I know that she was really happy to spend it with her family. My brother spent Christmas Eve and Christmas with my family, and now he spent New Year's Eve with his girlfriend. So it's sort of a trade-off of sons, if you will. I spent it this time with my family during New Year's Eve, and I had a blast. We hung out a lot throughout the day. We talked a lot, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy talking. And one of my favorite things that we hadn't done in a long time, so actually I'll backtrack a little bit and talk about a restaurant that we grew up with. There's a restaurant that we grew up with called El Rinconcito Latino. I think, if I remember correctly, like rincon means like a corner, so a rinconcito is probably like a little corner. So it's just like the little Latin corner where you can get really great food. We grew up with this during my like main adolescence years. We grew up with this one restaurant, and we knew everyone. We got a chance to really get to know all the servers. And the cool thing is we got a chance to see that restaurant grow from its infancy to what it is today. It's absorbed, I think, 2 businesses that were next to it, and it's become a lot bigger now. And some of the people that worked there 10 years ago still work there today, and I recognize them and they recognize me and my family. So I think that's something that's super neat, because when you're loyal to a business, it's so great to see it grow, especially when you care about it. So we were actually planning on doing that yesterday. We were planning on going to Rinconcito to eat, but it turns out they were closed, which, hey, good for them. They probably deserve the break. Not probably, they definitely deserve the break. And so good for them that they were closed. But there was a Chili's that recently opened up in front of my house here, and so we went to Chili's. Now, Chili's, I don't want to say I used to love Chili's, because I still love Chili's, and yesterday reminded me of how much I love Chili's. But Chili's, let's think about restaurants that are like Chili's. We have Chili's, Longhorn Steakhouse, Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Macaroni Grill, Ruby Tuesdays, Outback Steakhouse. These sorts of places are what we got. And out of all of them, mind you, I haven't tried all of them, but out of all of them, I feel like Chili's has been the most consistent one for me, and also my family, in terms of like the quality of food. Now, when I started watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares, I started being a little more, I became hyper aware of the quality of the food, and I would notice if things, for example, were microwaved, which I was very not into, as I'm sure anyone would. But anyway, we went to Chili's yesterday, and we had some experiences in the past where I knew the food was microwaved, but this time it wasn't. We started off with the Southwestern egg rolls, which are my dad and I and my brother used to be, and I think my mom, it was all of ours favorite appetizer. And you can tell these came out crunchy. These were fresh. They were so good. One of the cool things also is now, as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more of a sauce guy. So I had it with sauce. I thought that was super cool. Just a minor thing. It's like these little things in life that your tastes change. You start to appreciate things more. And it was super cool to have the sauce. It was probably like some ranch. It was something, but it was good. And it was fresh. It came out great. And on top of that, the server was also awesome. You can tell he really cared about the experience that he had with the people, like the tables that he was serving. So that was a plus already. So already we were off to a really great start. I also had some margaritas with my mom. I feel like Chili's, they're kind of known for their margaritas and baby back ribs probably. So I also ended up ordering the smokehouse combo. I think I got, so it comes with, well, I got it with baby back ribs and a brisket quesadilla. So it was really, really good. I got it with that. And yeah, so brisket quesadilla, baby back ribs. I had fries, I had garlic bread, I had some other stuff. I think I had one thing I'm missing. I don't know, some sides like cheese and coleslaw. So all that was really good. All that was real tasty, and it was fresh. Again, awesome. My dad had the classic ribeye. That's his go-to. It looked great. My mom had the chicken fajitas. It looked great. So overall, we had a fantastic time at Chili's, and just sitting down and talking with my parents, I love doing that. So we had a really great time. We stayed until they closed. We even took home some of the margarita shakers, or just the shaker bottles in general. So now when I go home with Paola, I can probably learn how to make a couple margaritas myself. And yeah, just have some fun with it, you know. It feels cool, like you got it at Chili's. It has that fun design on it, so it kind of just hypes up the mood. It was really cool, and I'm really glad we went. And hopefully we can go again soon, because yeah, it was awesome. I can't speak for all the other Chili's, but this one experience in particular was really awesome. So after that, we went home and we watched the classic, you know, Ryan Seacrest bringing in the new year. He's been doing that forever. That's like his thing. We watched that. It was so fun. Again, it was saddening for me because I did not spend it with my girlfriend. So, you know, I mean, I don't want to leave my parents alone during New Year's, but I feel like, you know, you want to kiss your girlfriend when the countdown happens, which we did over FaceTime. So it's the best that we can do. We make things work out, and I think that's the most important part, that we, you know, we make things work out. Like in any relationship, you got to work together to find the best solution. So I'm glad that both of us were able to hang out with our own families. That's very important. I know it's very important to her, and I know that she knows that it's very important to me. And hopefully next year, you know, we'll see how things go. with the vaccines now becoming a little more prevalent, we can see how things go with that and where we'll be in a year's time. So we brought in the new year, and I got tired pretty much right away. Ended up going to sleep around 1:30, but since my dog was with me, I tend to worry a lot about my dog. When I'm in my apartment, my dog has his own section, so he doesn't bother us when we sleep. But when I come to visit my family, he doesn't have a section, so he sleeps in the same room as me. And I just feel like I'm constantly thinking about what he's doing. You know, maybe that's not the right way to go about it, but I'm just constantly thinking about what he's doing. So I literally can't go to sleep because I have, might sound weird, but I have all these voices in my head like, what is he up to? Is he sleeping? Is he biting something? Is he peeing? All these things. So I end up having to constantly put the light on to make sure that he's behaving, and that adds up, and before you know it, it's already sunrise and you haven't really gotten good rest. So I probably ended up averaging like 6 hours last night, which is decent, but I woke up very grumpy. When I don't sleep, I get very grumpy, and I'm aware of that, and I'll let people know, hey, you know, I don't want to talk, or I'm not feeling up to it right now. So I wasn't feeling too good. I was in the twilight zone, but once we got, so we actually went to go to Rinconcito for breakfast this morning, which was cool. Awesome breakfast, and I had the works, had some coffee, and I was good to go. Now I'm back here, and it's been a nice day. I cleaned the car with my dad, hanging out with my parents. I think my brother's girlfriend's coming later, and then probably around 5 o'clock I'll start heading back to my apartment, where I want to start getting ready for the days ahead. Tomorrow, don't really have a lot going on. I do have a commitment with Practicum, which is again the web development tutoring that I'm doing. I have a live session with some of the students to help them with their projects, so I'll be doing that tomorrow, and then just chilling for the rest of the day. We'll also be wrapping up our last walk tomorrow for this week. Before, I will be taking a break on Sunday, which is good because I've been walking every day this week. Most of the time I do 4 days. This week I did 6. Tomorrow's going to be 50 minutes, a little bit longer, but fun nonetheless. I'm excited because now I'm thinking of this in the mindset of a podcast. It's still going to be tasked with me. It's still going to be, or maybe not, maybe tasked with me just goes away. I don't know. I really don't know. You know, I might, maybe I'll call it something else. Maybe tasked with me goes away, and we'll see what happens. I'll explain that now. The only thing is, if I bring in previous episodes to the podcast, people might understand why I'm saying task with me if that's not really what it's called anymore. But I guess we'll figure that out when we cross that bridge. But I'm excited to maybe change my frame of thought for that, and we'll see. I can still keep doing the videos, right? So it is what it is. So that's what today has been like. Again, tomorrow wrapping up with 50 minutes. I'm gonna wait for this truck to go by as he's a little bit loud. One moment. One cool thing is, because I'll be getting the media mod attachment for the GoPro, I'll be getting better audio, a little bit of less of wind distortion, so you kind of need to see how the quality of the audio improves. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so PTO ends for me now on Monday, and it's cool to get back to work. There's a lot of things that I am thinking of doing, and I don't want to spread myself out too thin, you know, with a full-time job, tutoring, designing t-shirts, making a podcast. A lot of things I want to do this year. I want to be busy. I want to try and accomplish a lot. Well, something that I really have my head set on is investing in real estate. We've been living at the apartment I am now for, you know, in total, it has not been consecutive. Maybe I can get into that story a little bit now, but it's probably been in total 5 years. Is that correct? Let's say 3.5 actually. 3.5, 4 years that I've been living in this apartment, and two things that come to mind as to why I would like to move out. One, the downstairs neighbors are a little bit sensitive when it comes to minor noises. You know, we're definitely not being crazy, we're not being rude, but if Sawyer drops a toy once, they get really upset. They get upset quickly, and I don't want to deal with that. I shouldn't have to. The second thing is taking my dog out, taking Sawyer out. When I take Sawyer out, I have to go down, not a very long hallway, but you know, it's a sort of a midway hallway. Got to go down that. I also got to go down the elevator and finally out the door, so it's a little bit of a mission. Whereas when I'm here with my family, it's just in and out. I mean, we can leave the back door open, let Sawyer do his business, and we can play with him and do all these things, and it just makes it so much easier, and I feel like that's worth the money. So trying to get into real estate investing, nothing crazy, but Paola has found a really nice property that I'm very much interested in. I've actually been looking at it more today, and I know that she was a little bit nervous. She told me, you know, come to this with an open mind, because I was very much into getting a single family home, but she has sort of got me thinking about a duplex, and we found a nice one, so we'll keep you all posted on how that goes. I think it's gonna go pretty well. We got the number of the realtor, so probably give her a call and see what we can do with that. So I am very excited for that, to see how all that stuff pans out. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening in 2021. Gotta make things happen while you're young. Kind of going off on a tangent here, but the older I get, the closer I get to 30, but not yet quite 30, I keep thinking to myself, you know, at the sake of sounding too existential, we don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to make things happen. So make them happen when you have the energy, when you have the capacity to do it. That's what I've been thinking about. So I might be spreading myself too thin, but by me trying out all these new ventures, it actually helps me grow and really see what I can put my mind to when I try things out. So if you're thinking about trying something new, understand that, you know, if you have a job now, you probably have to keep it to keep that income coming in. You need money to be able to do things, that's for sure. But also understand that that job can be used as the platform to do better things. I think millennials, I think Generation Z got it right. I feel like Generation Z is actually maybe the first generation that's more entrepreneurial. That's what I think. I think millennials are still very, we still fall under that life formula. The life formula being, you know, graduate high school at 18, graduate college from 22, get a house, get married, and then you pretty much just work your corporate job for the next 40 years, and then you retire at 65 and bada bing, bada boom, you know? Not really feeling that. And I know a lot of people aren't feeling that, but instead of just thinking about it, do something about it. Whatever dream you have, get out there and make it happen. Doing a little bit every day goes a long way. It's just about consistency. Consistency is the key trait to doing anything. It really is. I mean, at the sake of, I'm gonna be quoting sort of Sam Hyde here, who is, if you've all watched some of my previous episodes, he's one of the characters in the $1 Million Extreme Comedy Group. But he was talking about this sort of thing in Under Creative Aspirations, and he said, you know, there aren't many things that are so difficult to do that you couldn't just learn. You know, there is probably inherent talent in people, nature versus nurture, but if you really know what you want to do, if you have an idea of something you want to do, it really just comes down to doing it. I mean, just do that thing. And it takes time, but small, it's like compound interest. Small dedication here and there, small amounts of time that you put in, they explode, they avalanche into something big. You know, you don't need to devote 10 hours a day. I mean, if you have the time to devote 10 hours a day to something, of course you'll be getting to that goal much faster than someone who's only putting an hour. But the point is that for most of the people that are getting these side incomes, you know, it's all about that side hustle. Most of the people that are doing this to be able to achieve financial independence or retirement early or whatever they want, they're doing this after hours. You know, you got that steady 9 to 5. The most important part of your day becomes the 5 to 9. What are you doing in those last hours? I mean, you can sit back and watch TV, or you can sit back and do something productive. So I'm trying to do the latter and seeing what comes of it. And again, not killing myself, just being smart about it, knowing what my bounds are and just pushing, because you're young right now and we can do it. We can suffer a little bit. So I know I went off a little bit on a tangent there, again, maybe a little too existential, but I'm really into this, and this is what the podcast will sort of be about, these sorts of things, and really just random things. So if you like it, I hope to stick around and listen to more. All right, so let me check the time now. Let's see where we're at. Remember, we had a 40-minute walk today. So we're at 26 minutes, which means we have 14 minutes left in today's walk. So thank you all so much for listening. I'm gonna start referring to this as a podcast. In my head, I've already made this a podcast. I think it's fun. I want to try it out. So thank you all for listening to the podcast today. I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope that you will return and listen to more if you like what you've already been hearing, and stay tuned for more. I try to do this at least 4 times a week. I'm guessing that for the next couple of months it's going to stick this way. So stay around if you want to hear more like this. And just because we're done, again, if it ends up not being something like Task With Me and just ends up being something like, I don't know, I can't come up with a title now, but if it ends up just being a podcast, then I'll continue making this 4 times a week, and we'll go from there. We'll see how much fun we can have with it. That's really all it's about. Okay, so I'm gonna dive back into the 250 questions that we were thinking about last time. So 250 quality conversation starters. So I think we were maybe on question 50 yesterday. Maybe not. Let me see. Okay, we're on question 57. Okay, so what trends did you follow when you were younger? You know, I don't want to, I feel like if I say this, I'm going to sound like, oh, I'm trying to be a hipster, but I don't think I really followed into trends, and I'll tell you why. Well, there were like the popular social media trends, and I just did not fall into it, and none of my friends were really into it either. We used Facebook to get in touch with friends, but that's about it. But on the same hand, for example, I didn't get into Snapchat or Instagram. I'm getting into that stuff now to try to promote my content and, you know, get to meet more people that are interested in doing similar things. But in reality, I missed that whole bandwagon. Now, some things I did get into as a kid, man, I got into Livestrong. You guys remember those Livestrong arm bracelets that Lance Armstrong made? Those are incredible. I also got into like AOL Instant Messenger, but I think everyone did. It was such a popular fad to be into that. I guess that is definitely social media. Besides that, I was just a geeky kid, not really following any popular trends, just sort of doing my own thing, just playing video games and having a good time, really. That's mostly what I did. Okay, what do you fear is hiding in the dark? Probably, you guys know that meme that's like you're in the shower and you close your eyes to wash your hair and you feel like someone's in the room? Probably that. Like there's a, you know, I get an image of what it must feel like to fall into like a deep sleep paralysis. I haven't fallen into that, but if you look up like Wikipedia for sleep paralysis, I think it shows like a girl with like a demon sitting on top of her. I think that's probably what I'd think of, like some figures, some silhouettes just staring at me. You can see their outline, but you can't make out any of their facial features. Probably something like that, I would say, is what I fear is hiding in the dark, some entity. But then again, I'm into that stuff. I love horror. It's really, I don't know, it's a weird thing I'm into. My whole family's into horror. We love scary movies. We love telling scary stories. I introduced my mom to the creepy subreddit last night. Actually, my dad did. I introduced her to No Sleep, and then I think it was like 2 Sentence Horror. Some fun. Those are some fun subreddits to get involved with if you aren't already. If you're into scary stuff, I recommend them. All right, moving on. What was the best period of your life so far? What do you think will be the best period of your entire life? So my best period was adolescence. I would say, man, honestly, schooling in general. Like all of middle school and high school were awesome. I really had a great group of friends. I was doing a lot of fun activities. I was skateboarding, I was partying, I was meeting people. And then university, it slowed down a little bit. I became a little more like a hermit crab. And I don't want to say I regret it per se, but I do wish I was a little more social, because I know I have the capacity to do so. I was just too into myself, meaning I was scared. I was very anxious. I was nervous to meet people. I became a hermit crab. And I think it's because I lost a lot of my best friends. Not physically, they weren't like, they didn't pass away. They just were not with me during these times. And I feel like, especially during your early 20s, you know, late teens, you really depend on your friends to be there for you and to sort of support you through these times. I didn't really have that. So I would pretty much go to school and come back home immediately. So I wasn't really meeting a lot of people. Now, I think 2021 is gonna be a very, very good year. I have high expectations for myself and also my girlfriend. She has a lot of great things happening to her this year. So I'm very stoked to see what can become from all these things I've put my head on, and to go from there. So I think this year is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to that. And I think a lot of people feel that way because we're coming out of one of the darkest years of probably a lot of our lives. You know, 2020 was not good. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is what it is. And I think a lot of people are going into 2021 a little bit more hopeful than they were in previous years. So let's keep up the high spirits and keep on, you know? That's all we can do, just keep on. What do you do to improve your mood when you are in a bad mood? I feel like a lot of these questions are becoming a little bit repetitive, but I'd probably just take a break and play video games, or go on a walk like I've been doing. Something that just takes you away from whatever the thing that is inducing stress is. Get away from that. Yeah, I think that's probably it. What is the silliest fear you have? I'm gonna say probably cockroaches again. I think we had already gone over this, but I know a lot of people aren't scared of cockroaches, but I am. And I have a huge phobia. No shame in saying that. And it's silly because they're probably more scared than us than we are of them, and they're just insects. It's just they look so disgusting. And they crawl, you know? That's the thing. It's like the creepy crawlies. Not into that. No fun. What are some things you want to accomplish before you die? True financial independence. True independence in general. I want to be able to do the things I want on my own terms when I want to do them. I want to, yeah, I guess that's it. And I think that's everyone's goal. That's a lot of people's goals. Just to have the independence and the freedom that you put in hours, you put in time, you put in hard work to be able to get there. And now you can reap those benefits to say, hey, yeah, I did what I had to do to get to this independence, and now it's paying me back in dividends, you know? So that's what I would say I want. What is the best room in your house and why? The best room in the house, my primary home, I would say, is my bedroom. Yeah, because the living room now during work from home has become a working space, and we've kind of really blended work and living. So when I'm anywhere but my room, I'm thinking about working most of the time. But excuse me, when I'm in my room, I'm really in relaxation mode. So it's nice because I can just let go of everything, watch some YouTube, maybe read some fun articles, or just work on something else that's not directly work related. Who is someone popular now that you really like, and why do you like them so much? Let me think about this one for a little bit. Someone that's really popular right now. I don't really have an answer to that one, but if there's anyone out there that's doing what I'm doing and is very successful in it, then I am looking at you, and I'm looking at you for inspiration and hopefully to continue doing this. So I think that's fun. Maybe, like, man, I even started using TikTok recently. So I think with TikTok, like, the nice thing about TikTok is because videos are like 15-30 seconds, you can really just like put yourself out there, and people have the attention span to watch something that's that short. Like, just because I talk about good things here doesn't mean that people necessarily even want to listen. Kind of have to grab them early first, keep them on. So where's the best place to take a date? I love food, so I'm gonna say any like really awesome dinner spot or brunch or breakfast. My first date with Paola was at a, I'm gonna say it's probably like a brunch spot, like lunch and dinner. I remember I had a panini and she had a salad. It was called Special Tea, with tea spelled as in tea, to drink tea, but it sounds like a specialty place. It was awesome. I've been dying to go back there with her, to kind of like get that feeling again. I think that'd be so sweet. Probably sometime soon, right? We'll do it sometime soon. All right, we're at 36 minutes now. We are 4 minutes away from ending today's 40-minute walk. And again, very excited to see how we can maybe form this into a podcast. Now that I know with tools like Anchor, I can do it for free. Now, hopefully they don't have a limit. And if they do have a limit, what do? Do I make a 15-minute podcast and then I also do a walk? That might be too much. Again, I can't spread myself out too thin. So we'll see in due time. In a couple minutes, I'll see. Maybe I'll just wait to get home before I actually start doing it, since at home I have a better internet connection and my own computer. So I think that could be cool. Let's answer some more questions here and then we'll wrap it up. So what smell brings back great memories? Oh man, I actually experienced this today. So I was vacuuming my car with a vacuum that now we have at home, which is nice because don't have to go to the gas station and, you know, pay for all that and just take a lot of time. And for some reason the smell reminded me of Splash Mountain at Magic Kingdom, like the smell of the water, which, by the way, I think it's bromine. I might be completely wrong on that, but I know the water at Disney has a specific smell, especially in the parks, that's supposed to sort of bring back that memory. It's supposed to smell like that so that you remember it. Look it up, it's very interesting stuff. There's a specific smell the water has. Very cool. What's the best pet name you can come up with for a specific type of pet? Like these orange cat names. That's a weird question. I'm just gonna answer it by saying that I think Sawyer's the best name. Sawyer's such a unique name. Might even want to name my kid that if I have a male. Sawyer Negron. Oh hey dad, what you name me after? I named you after my first dog. No, I would say I named you after a very controversial character on Lost, who ends up being awesome. How often do you help others? Who do you help and how do you help? I help others currently by teaching them how to do web development. I help them 10 hours a week. That's just part of my job. Maybe it's not really a fair answer. It's just maybe not authentic. It's just like, that's my job. It's what I do. So that's what I would answer that with. I think we have time for one more question here. What are you best at? I am best at talking. I think I have a genuine talent. I think I have high charisma and I'm just good with people. I think my soft skills are really good. I'm very confident in saying that. I've been told that before. I feel it myself. So I think that's neat. It's helped me out a lot in my life to have good soft skills. It's something that employers, for example, are always looking for, and some people are just not able to deliver it. And I feel like I got that from my dad at an early age, so I have like an innate ability to just be charismatic. So thank you, Dad. All right, well, wrapping up today's walk. Today was 40 minutes. This is week 5, day 3. Tomorrow will be our last walk, week 5, day 4. at 50 minutes. Excited to continue doing this as a podcast. I might not keep uploading to YouTube anymore. Maybe this might be my last YouTube video, but we'll see how Anchor works out. If it's good, you'll hear from me on some platform where you can stream audio. So as always, stay fit and stay healthy, and we will see you all soon.